The last couple of things I want is, now that we updated our sources, something I've seen here, there are no source freshness check. We should keep our project healthy and make sure the test are in place and documentation is in place, but particularly source freshness are quite useful because they help us understand whether we have the right cadence in ingesting data, and we can run our refreshes at our cadence there. What I'll do is I'll create a new chat, and I'm gonna use another prompt here, which is, hey, can you add some sources, source data? I know that this data doesn't change that often, so I don't need the sources to be checked every hour. I can say every 2 or 3 weeks, for example, right? And again, I can use the attachments in their files. In this case, again, I'm gonna use my source.yaml to point to that context there. And here we can now, again, scan through the files, and the agent is gonna come up and generate a bunch of updates for us on defining what are our source configuration or source freshness that we can set up as part of our YAML files. Again, this is quite useful when we have to basically working not only on building or creating CP5, also when we have to think about data quality and how we make sure that we manage the quality of our data pipeline at scale. On the back of this, we'll get a bunch of select tests that will be added here, particularly around freshness, which is a pretty powerful tool on its own. And I think this is where, again, having something like DinoAI to help you create those files is helpful for any team that makes those changes at scale. One of very exciting use cases I've seen some of our customers use is about how to generate tests. The agent has access to all the test suites of dbt, whether those are unit tests, schema tests, data tests, you name them, external libraries, all this. So we can actually work with the agent to build a much more strong and correctly managed dbt pipeline. In the meantime, we just wrapped it up on generating these sources as well now. So we decided to go ahead and add our source freshness checks at the top of our model. And we can now also see what kind of configurations were enforced on the back of that. And it's also now suggesting, say, hey, do you want me to also run dbt source freshness to check where these things are? Again, using the terminal tool, this is going to send us all this information, say, fetching metadata, and we can see right away that, okay, actually, we told them between 2 to 4 weeks was fine, but a lot of those tables are actually coming a lot slower than what we expect, right? So it's coming to suggest, like, hey, do you want me to extend the periods? What shall we do on the back of that? So what I like about the agent and what I find super exciting is this kind of conversation that helps me understand exactly what is happening at any point in time. It's just not going on its own and building a bunch of things. It's helpful to have that context, having this kind of conversation as well.